Hey everyone, my name is Zoran Saher, and I'm with somebody who requires absolutely no introduction. Randeep Hooda, welcome to Urban Asian.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Not at all, it's an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait for your next film, Swatantrya Veer Savarkar. I hope I've said it correctly, which is
Swatantrya Veer Savarkar.
correct. I've practiced this about 25 times.
That's okay.
uh, and it's coming out on March 22nd, of course, produced by yourself and Z Studios. And you're directing the film as well. So Ranveer, well done.
Randeep.
Sorry, Randeep, well done.
I don't mind
And
Ranbir because it's my father's name.
no, I meant Randeep Hooda. But Randeep, let's get straight to the point. Why this film? I mean, you obviously have done some incredible work, whether it was Highway, whether it was Kick, whether it's Sultan, Once Upon a Time in Mumbai, and this is a very, very different departure. Why this film?
Why not this film? Is a question that I often ask people. Why mentioning the name of Mr. Savarkar raises hackles along both sides, the good and the bad.
Correct.
And it was a very interesting thing. When this project had come to me first as an actor, my well-wishers advised me not to touch it with a barge pole and not come near it because it is going to, take away from the artist you are and make you into a political mouthpiece or belonging to a certain sect or something. And that kind of irked me more. I said, why? Why? I mean, he lived 100 years ago. So what is the problem of making a movie on him? And in fact, I also was surprised that I did not know, in spite of being a history buff, that I only knew two things, Veer Savarkar and Kalapani, right? And nothing else about him. And I said, why is it so that nobody knows anything about him? Why have we not taught about him in the history books? Or why is he not a part of the public discourse? So when I researched further, and most of the books written by a certain dispensation only had one paragraph about the armed revolution that happened in India, that these people were there, they tried, but nothing happened. So then why were these people in hundreds and thousands sent to jail or were hung or were blown in with cannons? Then why did they do all that if they had no contribution? That kind of made me dig deeper and more into the story of the armed revolution and the story of a life story of Mr. Savarkar. And I was astounded by the fact that there is so much there and such a rich life and such a powerful armed revolution, though in secrecy, that happened in our country. And we have just brushed it under the carpet. So, keeping that in mind, slowly they didn't have a script in place, so I became a writer as well. I co-wrote it with Utkarsh Naitani, and then circumstances kind of turned in a way that I was given the baton of being a director as well. And then to maintain the quality and the way I wanted to make the movie, I ended up putting my house on into this movie. So it is an all-encompassing journey of bringing to life a man who lived with a lot of struggle, was very persecuted, and so has been the journey of making this movie. It's been full of struggles, but all these struggles are dwarfed in front of the struggles that he went through.
Yeah.
And it has just been a mission of mine ever since I got to know the injustice done to the armed revolution and to Mr. Savarkar, that I felt that this part of the untold, forgotten story should come to fore, and people should talk about it. People should discuss it and bring it around in our public discussions.
Yeah. Well, you've kind of answered my second question as well. And it draws parallel from your own journey in making this film. I think, what he went through, like you rightly mentioned, it seems like also some of the, the actual struggles you went through while making the process of it. And I wanted to ask you, Randeep, what are the visual, I guess, or actual struggles or, obstacles one goes through being wearing the director's hat as against acting? Because obviously you're kind of doing two things over here, three things rather, you're producing the film as well. How
Well,
challenging?
being an actor is like being an individual tennis player.
Yeah.
You get ready in your changing room, and then you go there, perform. You are with yourself, and you're playing the best tennis of your life. That's the life of an actor. When I became a director, the individual tennis player that I was made the captain of the football team, and my job was to make everybody play individual tennis.
Right.
And it was a hard part of it. A lot more communication and exchange between the crew, cast, and me, which is not there as an actor. It's a very individual sport. And then the sheer thing of being behind and in front of the camera. In fact, I used to stop. I used to forget taking my own shots and moving on. But I did have it in mind that when I
Yeah.
made this movie, I wanted to make this movie for a young audience, an international audience, not just Indian audience. So I
Right.
chose the sensibilities of writing a screenplay, which was very almost flows like a thriller, and there's no preaching of desh bhakti and no preaching of independence, rather doing of that, and all that conspired. And there was a non-violent movement, which I really respect. While reading Mr. Savarkar, I also read Mr. Gandhi, and that increased my respect for him, because what he said and did were one thing. He stood by his ground, and he was able to galvanize the a large population of common man with his symbolism of a stick and a dhoti to come together and feel a part of this independence struggle. Whereas Mr. Savarkar believed that we could start killing them. There's a handful of them and they'll run away. So these two ideologies, they met also many times. They had a lot of mutual respect for each other, but their paths were different, though
Right.
the destination was the same, which was an independent, united India. And a lot of things happen. No revolutionary or a freedom fighter can be judged by a singular prism. They all changed how they felt about each other. They all changed the course of their lives, their thought process. It was a very um, on the move kind of struggle that we went through. For example, Mr. Jinnah was against Khilafat, but he was then pro Pakistan later. Similarly, many things like that.
Sure, sure. Randeep, you've been known to do some of the most versatile work over this incredible journey you've had in the film industry, and all credit to you. You've obviously, worked with Alia for Highway, directed by Imtiaz Ali, which is so different from a film like this. And I mean, of course, now she's a household name, just like you are, and a big star. What is it like working with a talent like Alia, who's a star and a well-known name, as against a film like this, which is essentially just helmed by you? With not too many known names, but genuinely good talent, good raw talent.
Well, Alia was not a star
Correct.
at that point in time. She
That
was a
film made her the star. Yes.
she was a young, almost Golu Molu kid from
Yes.
Bangalore who had not seen the rest of India.
Yeah. Yeah.
And me and Imtiaz helped her a lot. Like, I did not speak to her for days, till the point her and my character start speaking to each other, so that she that has that thing, and she did very well, and I am very proud of the career she's made out of her professional life and her
Correct.
personal life. She's a mother also now. She's
Yes.
balanced them both very well, and I do feel that with every performance she tries to stretch herself further, and I'm proud of her.
Well, Randeep, you've also sort of, dwelled in films which are rather commercial and commercially viable, versus also doing, story-driven films, which is essentially content, which like a movie like Kick, like Sultan. Of course, Sultan has a bit of a story, and even movies like Once Upon a Time by very substantial in the kind of backstory. But this is a very, very different one that you're currently doing on a freedom fighter. When you as an actor, just purely being an artist, when you're just sort of by yourself working on the craft, what is the one thing you hold on to as an artist to kind of really hone that craft? Is there a certain method to the madness in every film you take on, or is it different from character to character? How does it really work?
It is to start from scratch. It is to start with the feeling that I really do not know anything about acting, and bring a sort of freshness back into it, and try and choose roles that are challenging and interesting for you, so that it can be interesting for the audience. And the approach as an actor is always to be as truthful as possible, and which means the physical, the mental, the emotional part of it, and understanding of these characters. Mr. Savarkar's character was very complicated. The times were very complicated. And in fact, of all my acting parts, this was the part that I paid least attention to because I was doing so many other things. But as an actor, I've never really depended upon watching myself on monitor to get it right. I've never really had very extensive conversations with the directors because I've already done the homework. On set, I've never had many conversations with them. So it was pretty similar like that. But, you know, you are the end word. If you say, okay, we move on. So
Yeah.
that kind of confidence and the ability to back yourself is a newfound thing that I found as a director. And I often found myself very sure, whereas as an actor, I'm never sure.
Right. Well, Randeep, thank you so much for talking to me. Any new work coming up post this film? What's next on the cards?
There are some very interesting things that I have taken up, but it's too early to talk about them. But I
Sure.
just want to convey to your audience that I've made a young, happening thriller movie for young people. And I don't call him Veer in the movie. It is for you to go and decide whether he
Right.
was Veer or not. My movie asks a question. Please go watch it and answer it in your own
Well,
way.
thank you so much. We look forward to it and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.